What is up, guys? If you're watching this video, that means you are interested in how to break 16 minutes in a 5K. Today, I'm going to share the 3 lessons I learned leading up to the first time I broke 16 minutes in a 5K. So pretty recently, I had a running buddy send me a message and say, what made the biggest difference in your improvement? Well, that got me thinking, because I've been running a long time and I've run a lot of miles, but what really made the difference leading up to that sub 16 5K? Well, here are the 3 things that I learned. Now let me preface this by saying these are not, and I repeat, not the only things you need to do to break 16 minutes in a 5K. In fact, these are not the only things you need to do to break any major time difference or any major time barrier. But these are the things that I found to be most important leading up to that sub 16 5K. And the secret is if you apply these 3 things with any of your training, this will help you get those PRs and help you smash through any of those barriers. So lesson number 1 is having consistent mileage. So last year when everything shut down and the world was ending, I decided I was going to take a little bit of time off from running. I wanted to just decompress, make sure I spent that time with my kids, make sure I spent that time with my family, and just kind of took a break and just let life happen, which was awesome because it allowed me mentally to get a lot of clarity and allowed me to kind of regroup and get ready for training later. I ended up taking about 5 weeks off because I decided, you know what, I'm never ever going to have a chance like this ever again. Never will I ever be able to just come home from work and not have any other responsibilities. And that's kind of what life was like. I got to just spend it with my wife and kids. And so I took that break from running and it was worth it. I do not regret that in the least bit. Now, I've never been a real high mileage guy. Most of the time I'm hovering between 40 and 60. Now, to some of you, you may be thinking,
what? 40 to 60, that's it?
Now hear me out. I've always emphasized quality over quantity. Yes, I understand there's power with increasing mileage, but I also know there's power with having consistent quality mileage. So after that time off, I very gradually started coming back to running. I started very basic, 1 mile run, and just slowly began to build up. Over the course of the summer and into the fall, I got back up to around 40 to 50 miles a week. And I've been running about 40 to 60 miles a week, pretty much every week since about October-ish. And to be honest, the last 7 months or so have been the most consistent I've ever been in my entire running career, in all 18 years. Now, I've lived in places where when you start getting those fall months, running is over. I've also tried running through college, tried running through my chiropractic school. That's 8+ years of trying to run and trying to figure out how to run and how to be consistent. And it sucked. I struggled with it. I also managed to have 2 kids while I was in chiropractic school. So that played a whole nother factor into it. So it wasn't until the last couple of years that I really pieced together that missing link. And I had that consistent mileage, getting up every morning, making sure I was out the door, making sure I was getting the miles in. That's been one of the biggest helps to getting to that sub 16. Lesson number 2 is specific speed work. Now, for years and years and years, I've always just sprinkled in 5Ks in my training plan just for fun because I enjoy racing while I was trying to focus on a different distance. And I never quite understood why, I wasn't dropping down as fast as I could. So last fall, I was training for a marathon time trial, and I was doing a lot of mileage up to that point. And as soon as that ended, I decided to go all in with 5K training. I was focusing 100% on the 5K, not anything else. If I wanted to do other races, it was all, bonus. I wasn't focusing on the distance. For example, a couple weeks ago, I ran the Tomoka half marathon. Not in any of my wildest dreams did I think I was in half marathon shape, but I knew I had the mileage. I knew I had a little bit of 5K speed, and I did pretty decent at the Tomoka Marathon. You can catch my recap of that race right here. Once I shifted gears and focused very specifically on the 5K, I noticed that speed and strength started coming a lot easier. I was doing two speed workouts a week. I was doing a more true speed session on Tuesdays. Then on Thursdays or Fridays, I would do kind of a strength speed work, something like a tempo or lactic threshold run. Tuesdays would be more of like intervals and repeats. So one of my favorite workouts that I started doing pretty recently is the 1-4-1, or 1 mile at 5K pace, 4x400 meter at mile pace, and then 1 mile at 5K pace again, with various rests in between there. And I made a video about this right here. So once I started focusing very specifically on that 5K speed, it started getting easier, like I said. And lesson number 3 is probably the most valuable to my life as well as my running life, and that is mental maturity and running experience. So what do I mean by mental maturity and running experience? Well, I've been running for almost 19 years. Never did I ever think that, 18, 19 years ago, I would be running in the 15 minutes for the 5K. I remember my very first 5K, I didn't even break 30. And what's interesting is over all those years, not much has changed as far as what speed work I'm doing. I'm still doing kind of the same speed. I'm still kind of doing the same speed work. I'm still kind of doing the same, framework of my weeks. That regard hasn't really changed too much. So if that really hasn't changed, then what has been the main difference between me before and me now? And kind of piggybacking off of running experience has been the fact that I have put in, months and years and tons of miles to get to this point. So if you're pretty new to running, or maybe you're feeling like you're struggling a bit, you kind of hit that wall, be patient with yourself. Even if you don't hit those PRs this training block, the training blocks you're doing now still matter down the road. I've had plenty of training blocks and training plans. Maybe the final time wasn't exactly what I wanted, but all of those miles and all of that effort and energy and blood, sweat, and tears has helped me get to this point. Don't waste miles. Don't waste a training plan. Even if you don't make that time, you just got to be patient with yourself. And most importantly, doubt your doubts. So let's recap the 3 lessons. Number 1, having consistent mileage. Number 2, have very specific speed work for a sub-16 5K. And number 3, have mental maturity and running experience with you. In other words, be patient. So I hope this helps a little bit. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below. Send me a message. I have my Facebook Messenger link in the description of this video. Let's talk. I love to help people. I love to help people achieve their goals. If you feel that you're just stuck with something, hit me up because let's talk it out and I know I can help you.